Okie dokie. So, welcome back to becoming CEO of your career. We're going to continue on the value proposition journey. Last session, what we focused on was value creation and deep diving on the value you create. In this session, we're going to start looking more at the value proposition canvas developed by Strategyzer. So, I'll lead you through the story. We'll see what we've already done, and then I'll talk you through the value proposition canvas. So as always, to become CEO of your career, we focus on activities, reflection, and action. The last bit being on you after these sessions. What we've been journeying through so far is values, purpose, vision, legacy. We've started developing your personal brand, looked at your business model or your career as a business model. And the last session, we did part of the value proposition. You've probably got something like this where you've defined your purpose, you've defined your values and your vision, and that is informing your legacy. When we did our brand work, we started looking at what was your brand promise, the guarantee, your secret, something that no one else has, and your elevator pitch. And then your business model, or defining this for your career, we would have gone through, looked at who are your key partners, activities, and resources you need to build out, what your value proposition might be, the relationships you want between you and your customers, the channels you can use to access them, and then your customer segments. And so today, once we get a bit further on, we're going to deep dive into that value prop to customer segment stuff. And so the key parts to the value proposition, part of which we've done, value creation. But today we're going to look at customer attributes, products and services, jobs to be done, pains and pain relievers, gains and gain creators. And these things will start to make pretty quick sense once we get down. As far as value creation is considered, we looked at a range of different activities that allowed you to identify the value you create. We talked through your words and reviewed your brand promise. The first activity, we started identifying who have you created value for, what was the value you created for them. We then looked at what value have I consistently delivered to customers, what problems do I solve for them, and what needs do I satisfy, and created a bit of a table based on the priorities. The next activity was we started to visualize everything we came up with and moved into answering what level were your customers, what role were they in, and what agency types. All of this comes together as us understanding our ideal agency to work for, the ideal context to operate in, the type of help we give people, and the work we do. And so this is really useful when it comes to starting to define your value proposition. And so what's new for today's session is we're going to start listing out your products and services. And so that could be as simple as the core role or skill you offer, and then identifying customer segments, or it could be also about listing out future possible products and services you might want to offer that then feed into your goals. We'll look at how does the value proposition help your customer get a job done, be it a functional, emotional, or social outcome. And as always, we try and use the content from previous activities and sessions to develop our value problems and needs that you solve or satisfy. As far as customer jobs to be done, this is all about what are your customers trying to do? What are they trying to get done? It includes the tasks they're trying to do, the things they want to complete, the problems they're trying to solve, or the needs they're trying to satisfy, which when you read becomes really clear why the previous session directly feeds into this. What we're going to do is describe what are the jobs that your customers want to get done. We're going to consider what do they want? Do they want to look good, gain power or status, feel good, have security? Do they want to create a product or service for their customers and they need help doing it? And we're going to note in which context you notice pains or gains for the customer that they experience. This feeds into defining your customer's pain. And so what are their negative emotions, undesired situations or costs, the risks they're experiencing before, during, or after getting their job done? And the more you can understand your customer's pain, the better you can target your special skill towards solving that. The better you can communicate your skills at solving pains. Practically, in the context of becoming CEO of your career, it's also about how you can best develop your resume, or comment on blogs, or comment on posts in LinkedIn, shape up your profile. And so having this data and info is infinitely reusable across those social platforms and products. Pain relievers, pretty obvious. It's about describing how your products or services alleviate customer pains. So how do you limit or reduce negative emotions? How do you mitigate or solve undesirable costs and situations? What risks you can reduce before, during, or after a customer gets their job done? The flip side is customer gains. So what are the benefits your customer expects, desires, or would be surprised by? What functional utility, social gains, positive emotions, and cost savings might your customer be looking for? What do they want to achieve? What do they want to gain? And then, pretty obvious by now, what are your gain creators? How do your products or services create customer gains? How do you create benefit for your customers? How do your customers expect, desire, or would be surprised by? And again, it could be something functional, social gains, positive emotions, or cost savings. What do you create for them? And once we've thought through those things, we're going to complete the business model canvas. The value proposition canvas, which is or was or has been developed by Strategyzer.com. They created not only the business model canvas, but also the value proposition canvas. They both tie in perfectly together and are key parts of the success framework. And so in the context of how we're working, they give permission to use their tools in situations like this: coaching, business development, etc. And obviously for individuals and businesses to use to define their value proposition. So great credit where credit is due. And this is a sharp sort of version I've created in Lucidcharts that shows you what the value proposition canvas looks like. On the left in the square, it captures your services and gain creators and pain relievers aligned to your customers' gains, pains, and their jobs to be done. And we'll use this in the back of our minds as we're starting to write out ideas, or use your CEO of the Career Workbook. There's a template for the value proposition canvas in there. And so what we're going to do is we're going to take the work we completed in previous sessions. We're going to do some activities where we start looking at pains, gains, etc. Collect and review that previous work you've created, define your products and services, and start working through each element of the value proposition canvas. And so if you're inclined to use the video and go back, you might go to customer pains and use this as your activity, which is, what are my customer pains? You start listing them out. Maybe you want to do gains. So you say, what does it want my customers gain? And then list them out. You can also use, when developing your value proposition canvas, the perceptual positions we've previously talked about, where you start stepping into your customer's shoes and looking at the world from their view to best develop this. And so, as always, if you need access to tools, we've got Lucidcharts that I use for all my tools. There's great document examples on there. You've got the manual, and there's also access to Patreon where you can download and get access to the manuals, the workbooks, and the video content that is for the CEO of the Career Program is available there. And maybe to you right now, but to anyone that's watching this or participating tonight, when we get to the end of today and actually complete our workbook, the question is, do you want to become CEO of your career? And if the answer is yes, what we'll do is continue on next session into understanding your competition and your core attributes. And so what we're going to do now is wrap up the video part of today's session, the recording, and we're going to dive into the actual activities that we do on these online sessions. So let's end the recording and crack on with doing the activities.